There is actually a debate over whether it makes sense to reduce the interest rate on your credit card. Hey, Gordon Gecko, you were wrong. Greed is not good. Hello there. Thank you for joining in for this Harley Carnes podcast, Harley on the Headlines. You know, there's always so much going on in Washington, it is difficult to avoid talking about it. So we don't. We fall prey to the bounty that is there every day. We'll get to some of the rank politics in a moment, but here's a question. It's kind of an innocent question. The Biden showerhead rule is going away, looks like. Just one of a lot of the Biden-era things that will quickly fade into the mists. And the mist is about all you got out of one of those shower heads. Now, if you want to take a proper shower, you can go for it. Heck, I know people with 2 or 3 heads in their shower. The Biden rule said the combined flow of water from even multiple shower nozzles had to stay below a certain number. You know, if they could think up a regulation to try to control what you do and how you live, they just love the idea. At least now there's a return to making your own decisions, even if they do cost a little more. It'll take a handful of like-minded Democrats to make it happen in the Senate, pass no problem in the House. Whatever happens to the president's proposal that credit card interest rates be capped at 10%, it is sparking a worthwhile debate. On one hand, it makes a lot of sense. A credit card is a loan card. You buy anything for $1, you pay back an extra dime for the privilege in the president's deal. The wrap on the proposal is the credit card companies will cut back on available credit to people with high-rate credit cards, and therefore it's a bad idea. Well, I would ask a question about the cruelty of the current situation. If you don't make much money and you want a credit card to buy something because you don't have much money in your pocket, you are the one who pays the highest credit rate. And in other words, the banks want to collect 30 cents extra when you spend that dollar if the dollar is precious to you. Make sense? Only if the goal is to keep you there. Less expensive money just makes sense. Yet, the Electronic Payments Coalition, that's the group of banks and payment card networks and credit unions and so forth, that coalition claims more than 80% of card holders could have their cards canceled or their credit limit slashed if the president got his way. Well, maybe they'll do that. Or maybe it's the banks that would have to adjust. Get more, not fewer, credit cards out there in the hands of people who right now are getting killed by the high-rate cards that they have. It would be the only way, really, for the credit card companies to make up for losing the ability to rob you. We once had usury laws in America. I remember them. The idea was any interest rate on a loan above 25% was illegal because you'd have to be a crook to charge more than that. Well, now 25 to 30% and more is routine, even if you have good credit. It isn't about your credit rating. It's about greed. The Shylocks, who run the plastic loan industry, have been taking us to the cleaners for years. Maybe it is time to cut them down to size. The banks, however, are a powerful political lobbying force. Don't bet on the people you sent to Washington to do the right thing for you. Before you spend any more time fretting over America's immigration crackdown, I would suggest you do a tiny bit of research. Go to the State Department or its equivalent immigration web portal at any, and I mean any other country in the world where you think you might want to live or where you would maybe never want to live. Take a look at the requirements to emigrate there from here. If you do that, you will at first be shocked. Every country has tough rules for moving in. They don't want you if you're not bringing something useful or valuable to your new country. They don't want you if you're not planning to be loyal to your new country, productive in your new country, healthy and eager to be a part of your new country. We have millions of people who've come to the U.S. who are not interested in being a part, an English-speaking, tax-paying part. American, not a hyphenated American, but a proud American, transformed. They have come in search of the public tit. They want to latch on and suck and take and take. Assimilation, forget about it. It has too many syllables. In all of the world's worthwhile countries, you are expected to be a contributor, and the choice is not yours whether to become a citizen. The choice is made by the country of your choice. You apply, and the country chooses you or not. And even to visit, forget about becoming a citizen, you have to get approval before you get there. No showing up and making an application then. Nope. You make an application to visit, you wait a while for the answer, and then you can go, temporarily. And they mean that too. When your visa is ending, you are packing to go home. Now, that's the way America did it for a long time, until just in recent years when our so-called leaders decided to ignore what the laws passed by Congress require. And it is still the law in America. Ignoring the law didn't change it. It just broke it. And that's why immigrants from 75 countries are now on hold as the White House reviews the process with plans to make it work better. An Illinois Democrat in Congress, Robin Kelly, wants to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, claims the immigration crackdown is a reign of terror and that ICE and DHS agents use excessive force. Now, keep in mind, an impeachment is an indictment. It's a charge. It's not fait accompli. What follows would be an impeachment trial, and then if there's a conviction, the person could be removed from office. That's the process. It goes all the way to the top. The reality is simple to understand. In most states, in most cities, when agents go to a local jail to pick up a federal prisoner, there is zero violence. The prisoner walks out of the jail in cuffs, gets into the truck, and off to the federal facility they go. In sanctuary cities like Chicago, when agents go to pick up a federal prisoner, someone calls the news media. Someone alerts the organized socialist groups, and they show up to try to keep the transfer from happening. Even though they know they will fail, they try to get in the way, and they call it peaceful protest. Now, an impeachment effort in this case is just political masturbation, bound to produce nothing but some guttural grunting. If you want to know what socialist warthogs in heat sound like, just pay attention. It's coming. By the way, what usually happens in these situations when the ICE agents, who are federal law enforcement agents, want to collect someone who's wound up in jail, by the time they get there, that person's already released, so they go to their home to pick them up. They watch, they pay attention, they know where they went, so they go to pick them up at their home. And can you imagine how it is that all these protesters realize, oh, look, that's the ICE people. Look what they're doing. Let's go over and see if we can stop it. Come on. Hats off to Mark Cuban, billionaire who politically lives mostly on the left, but he's sure enough right about how ridiculously high-priced many of America's medical costs and procedures are. Most recently, he's pointing at MRI machines. If you go to a hospital or your doctor sends you there, the hospital's first question is, do you have insurance? That's because they usually own the MRI lab, and they charge $2,000, $3,000, maybe more, to run you through the magnetic resonance image machine and do the test. As Mark Cuban points out, you can probably go down the street to a private MRI center that will do exactly the same test and produce exactly the same report for $300 or $400. And the MRI center is no charity. They're making money hand over fist at that rate. The hospital is stealing money from the insurance companies. But that's not what's really happening. Not really. Those overcharges are stealing money from you who pay the insurance premiums. Even at the hospital, you might get a cash deal. A couple $1,000 for the test if you have insurance. A couple hundred or so if you can pay in cash. So who gets the best deal in healthcare? The person who is flush with cash, of course. The well-to-do. People who work for a living who have to have insurance just in case, who depend on it because no way they can pay in cash for everything. Those are the people who have a hard time. That dynamic plays out pretty much the same way right on down the line with drugs, prescriptions, big money paid by insurance companies for brand name drugs, smaller money for generics, same drug, or if you buy it elsewhere, like Canada or India. As Mark Cuban put it, the sicker you are, the more money goes on the healthcare company CEO's balance sheet. They are just too big to care about you and about the impact they actually have on your welfare. Now, he's been posting this on X a lot lately, saying it is time to break apart the big healthcare and insurance companies and re-rig the system in favor of everyday Americans. He owns a bunch of discount prescription services, but his point is well taken. Iran is afraid of Trump, clearly. He sent the message, if the killings of Iranians who want regime change doesn't stop, he'll take action. He wasn't even specific. Didn't matter. The killings stopped in the streets, and plans to execute, to publicly hang activists were canceled, at least for the time being. People in Iran still want an end to rule by the Ayatollahs. Now, hopefully they'll get it. The return flight was normal by SpaceX of the 4 members of NASA's Crew 11 from the International Space Station. The capsule splashed down off the coast of San Diego early this morning. What was not normal, of course, was why they returned. One of the crew members has a serious medical situation. We don't know which one. We don't know the malady. We just know it was serious enough to cancel the mission and come home. It's weird for NASA to be so closed-mouthed. Makes us wonder what's going on. Did you give your sweetheart a kiss this morning? You should, of course, because having that someone special in your life who lives with you and shares life with you helps keep you younger and happier and healthier. That is proven science. It's also common sense. There are a lot of young people these days who just can't be bothered. Sure, a friend with benefits is great for a while. Dating is exciting because there's always something thrilling in someone new. Solitude is good too, though it rings different just a little bit from solitary, doesn't it? Doesn't take solitude long to become solitary either. Feels like confinement. Scientists now know there are dates, ages, mileposts at which living alone, single, begins to negatively affect your life. The first one, this was a surprise to me. The first one is age 18. Being single after that is when life satisfaction scores start going down, surprisingly young. And many people just don't notice because being busy takes the place of being happy or satisfied. The next milepost, and this is a big one, is age 24. The happiness and life satisfaction gap grows more quickly, and you absolutely know it. Researchers say loneliness spikes sharply at that age. It fills your thoughts more and more, leading to deeper loneliness and, sadly, depression. I guess there is a pun in there. Here's the problem. Not everyone gets depressed by being single, of course. Some are very happy with their mirror. But for those who yearn for the closeness of a great relationship, the risk is the vicious cycle. If you don't feel good about your situation, other people can tell, or at least intuit, and that makes finding someone harder. Then you don't find that someone, and the solitary cycle continues. Now, here's the good news. People who find their life partner, later in life, meaning in their mid to late 20s or even 30s, are over the moon with happiness. They know what they've got. The message is don't be afraid of commitment. It can be scary, but it's worth it. And with someone who helps you make it right, you'll live longer, happier, and healthier. It's not just music, it's also science. So want to thank you for joining in. Really appreciate it. I can use your help spreading the word that the Harley Carnes podcast is here, sometimes long interviews, and of course there are the daily headlines, whatever's happening. Like, follow, subscribe. Please share the links. I am Harley Carnes. Until next time, fly safe.